Everyone wants growth, but no one wants pain. We pray for strength, yet fear the very struggle that creates it. The truth is, growth and pain are two sides of the same coin. You cannot evolve without being broken first. Just like a seed must crack open to become a tree, every human must go through moments of discomfort, loss and challenge to awaken the strength sleeping within. Pain is not your enemy, it is your greatest teacher, unforgiving, honest and transformative. Pain is the process of transformation. It is the fire that melts away the weakness within and hardens the spirit into strength. No growth can exist without pain because every evolution demands the death of what you once were. The body grows through pain, the mind matures through pain, and the soul expands through pain. When you face suffering, you are not being destroyed, you are being reshaped. The cracking, the tearing, and the burning you feel are not signs of failure, but signs that something deeper is awakening inside you. Pain is nature's most honest teacher. It doesn't flatter, it doesn't deceive, and it doesn't allow comfort to become your cage. When you are in pain, you cannot pretend anymore. You see the truth of your strength and the depth of your limits. In those moments, you realize that growth was never supposed to be pleasant. The seed doesn't complain when it splits open to become a tree, and the butterfly doesn't cry over the cocoon it must leave behind. Pain strips away illusions so that only truth can survive. Every form of resistance you face is an opportunity to rise above what you used to be. When you stop running from pain, you begin to understand its purpose. Pain is not a punishment, it is preparation. It forges clarity, focus and endurance. The more you embrace it, the more you evolve. Avoiding pain keeps you soft, confronting it makes you unbreakable. The ones who have suffered deeply are often the ones who stand the strongest, because they have learned to use pain as fuel instead of fear. Transformation demands that you outgrow your comfort. Pain is the tool that forces that growth. It pushes you beyond the boundaries of habit and fear, breaking the patterns that keep you ordinary. You cannot carry your old self into a new chapter. Something has to be shed, and that shedding hurts. But without that pain, there is no evolution, only repetition. Growth is not given, it is earned through endurance, through the willingness to face discomfort without giving up. When you embrace pain, you gain mastery over yourself. You stop blaming life for its challenges and begin to use them as instruments of growth. Pain teaches patience, strength, humility and resilience, qualities that no comfort can ever provide. To fear pain is to fear your own becoming. Transformation does not happen in silence or ease. It happens in the fire of struggle. Pain is not your enemy, it is the force that sharpens you into the person you were always meant to be. Comfort is the slow death of potential. It dulls the mind, weakens the will, and silences the hunger for greatness. When life becomes too easy, you stop striving, stop questioning and stop growing. Comfort makes you forget the struggle that once shaped your strength. It convinces you that stillness is peace when in truth it is decay. The human spirit was not built for endless ease, it was designed to be tested, to be stretched, to be pushed beyond the limits of safety. Discomfort is the birthplace of growth. Every time you step beyond what is familiar, you awaken new strength within yourself. The mind becomes sharper when challenged and the heart becomes stronger when tested. It is through discomfort that purpose is forged. Comfort may give you temporary relief, but it robs you of the fire that pushes you forward. Growth cannot exist where comfort is worshipped. To evolve, you must willingly walk into the spaces that make you uncertain and uncomfortable. People often confuse comfort with happiness, but they are not the same. Comfort numbs you, happiness empowers you. The comfort zone is seductive, It offers warmth and predictability, but it also takes away your edge. You begin to live on autopilot, existing but not evolving. The longer you stay in that state, the more your potential fades into silence. Discomfort, on the other hand, keeps you alive. It forces you to adapt, to think and to fight. Only those who dare to step out of ease truly experience life in its full intensity. Greatness demands that you leave behind what feels safe. No one who ever achieved anything extraordinary did so while clinging to comfort. Growth asks for risk, sacrifice and uncertainty. When you choose discomfort, you choose expansion. The pain of effort today becomes the power of endurance tomorrow. The mind learns, the body strengthens, and the spirit awakens when you expose yourself to challenge. Comfort may protect you from failure, but it also protects you from success. The one who escapes comfort becomes unstoppable. They no longer chase convenience, they chase capability. They understand that every moment of discomfort is a doorway to mastery. Comfort makes you fragile, discomfort makes you unshakable. If you wish to rise, you must stop seeking warmth and step willingly into the cold winds of growth. Life does not reward those who stay where it's easy. It rewards those who have the courage to outgrow what once made them feel safe. Pain exposes the truth that comfort hides. When everything is easy, you live inside illusions, illusions of strength, patience and understanding. But when pain strikes, all false layers are stripped away. You see what you are truly made of. Pain is the mirror that does not lie. It reveals your limits, your fears and your real capacity to endure. It is only through that exposure that transformation begins. Without pain, you would never know your own depth, because growth demands that something within you must break for something greater to be born. Pain refines the spirit like fire purifies gold. It burns away weakness, laziness and fear. The person who avoids pain also avoids evolution. When you embrace pain consciously, it becomes your teacher, not your enemy. It shows you where you are stuck, where your ego still dominates and where your strength needs to rise. Most people run from pain, but the wise face it directly, knowing it is the only way to expand their capacity for life. True growth happens not in pleasure but in discomfort. Every struggle carries a hidden seed of wisdom. Pain forces you to stop and reflect, to question your choices and to learn patience. It humbles you, reminding you that control is an illusion. When you fall, you realize that strength is not the absence of pain, but the ability to move through it without losing your clarity. Pain teaches endurance, and endurance transforms ordinary people into extraordinary beings. It teaches you to hold on when everything in you wants to give up. The deeper the pain, the greater the expansion. It stretches your emotional and mental boundaries, opening new spaces for understanding and compassion. Pain does not come to destroy you, it comes to cleanse and elevate you. Through it, you learn empathy for others and respect for life. Those who have suffered deeply often shine with calmness and wisdom because they have walked through their own darkness and found light on the other side. Pain gives meaning to joy and strength to love. To grow is to accept pain as a necessary companion on the journey. Without it, there is no awakening, no depth and no real maturity. Every scar is proof that you faced something that could have broken you but didn't. Pain gives life its shape, its power and its beauty. It is not something to fear, but to understand. When you stop running from pain, you begin to live with awareness. Growth begins the moment you stop asking for an easy life and start asking for the strength to rise through the pain. Struggle is the unseen architect of all strength. Nothing grows in the absence of resistance. Just as the body builds muscle only when it is pushed beyond comfort, the mind and spirit evolve only when they are tested by challenge. Struggle shatters illusions of weakness and forces hidden power to emerge. Every obstacle becomes a weight that, when lifted, expands your inner capacity. Without the friction of difficulty, the human spirit remains soft, untested, and unaware of its true potential. Life is not meant to be smooth because smoothness breeds stagnation. It is the uneven path that sharpens your awareness, your focus, and your endurance. Every trial that pushes you, every setback that humbles you is part of the silent training that molds resilience. Struggle does not come to break you but to awaken you from the laziness that comfort creates. When you resist the urge to escape hardship, you discover a power that does not depend on circumstance, a strength that belongs entirely to you. True strength is not built in the moments of ease, but in the moments of exhaustion when you still choose to rise. It is not measured by victory alone, but by the courage to continue in defeat. Those who have never struggled remain fragile, easily shaken by life's smallest storms. But those who have faced darkness, failure, and loss develop a foundation that cannot be moved. Every battle fought in silence, every tear shed in frustration becomes fuel for unshakable determination. Pain is the process through which life shapes you into something stronger and wiser. It burns away weakness, illusions, and comfort, leaving behind the raw truth of who you are. Every struggle you face is not a punishment, but a form of inner sculpting. It tears apart the layers that hide your true potential and forces you to meet the strength you didn't know existed. Growth never comes gently. It demands that you walk through discomfort and endure the storms that carve your soul into something powerful. Pain reveals reality in its purest form. It does not lie and it does not flatter. When you suffer, you see what truly matters and what was only a distraction. It strips you of false pride and breaks down the walls of ego, exposing the essence of your being. Pain dismantles illusions and makes you face your own limits, teaching that strength does not come from avoiding hardship, but from embracing it completely. Only those who face pain with open eyes gain the wisdom that life tries to give through every difficult moment. Pain tests the depth of your endurance. It shows you what parts of you are fragile and what parts cannot be broken. It is the great revealer of truth, uncovering whether your courage is real or borrowed, whether your faith is strong or shallow. In the silence of suffering, you meet your real self, stripped of masks and pretensions. It is in that raw state that true power is born, not from comfort, but from surviving what once felt impossible. Pain also softens the heart. When you have endured your own darkness, you begin to recognize the struggles of others. It awakens compassion, empathy, and understanding. You stop judging and start connecting because pain has shown you how fragile and sacred human life truly is. Through your suffering, you gain not only strength but also kindness, the ability to feel deeply and to value every breath, every moment, and every soul you encounter. The body grows only when it is pushed beyond comfort, and the same law governs the mind and spirit. Without resistance, there is no progress. When the body is challenged, muscles tear and rebuild stronger. When the mind faces struggle, its limits expand and new strength is born. Discomfort is not an obstacle, it is the raw material of growth. Those who constantly seek ease never evolve because comfort keeps everything stagnant, while resistance awakens potential that lies dormant within. When pain strikes, it stretches the boundaries of your endurance. It forces you to think, adapt, and rise beyond what you once thought possible. Just as a storm tests the strength of a tree, challenges test the stability of your character. Every difficult situation you face refines your mental discipline and builds a sharper focus. Through consistent exposure to hardship, the mind becomes resilient, learning how to remain calm in chaos and centered in uncertainty. Discomfort shapes discipline. The mind learns patience only when forced to wait, courage only when faced with fear, and determination only when the path is full of resistance. Without struggle, these qualities would remain mere words, empty and untested. The more you endure, the more unshakable you become. Pain trains you to face reality without escape, teaching you that no true growth happens without friction. It is through friction that strength takes form and endurance becomes your nature. Every challenge faced willingly transforms into a lesson of mastery. The person who accepts discomfort as part of growth never feels defeated by it. Instead of asking, "Why me?" they ask, "What is this teaching me?" That simple shift of awareness turns pain into power and difficulty into development. Life ceases to feel like punishment when one understands that resistance is the way to rise higher. It becomes clear that the journey of strength is not in comfort, but in the courage to face what burns and still move forward. Pain makes you compassionate in a way that comfort never can. When you have been burned by life's fire, you stop seeing other people's suffering as distant or insignificant. You recognize the same struggle in their eyes that once lived in yours. The arrogance that comes from ease begins to dissolve, replaced by humility and understanding. You no longer speak from judgment, but from experience. Because pain has taught you how fragile strength can be and how heavy silence can feel when no one understands it. Through pain, the heart learns to feel beyond itself. You begin to sense the invisible battles people fight behind their smiles. Words of comfort no longer come from pity, but from truth, because you know what it means to endure quietly. This depth of empathy cannot be learned through books or advice. It comes only from living through your own darkness. Every scar becomes a reminder that compassion is not weakness. It is the strength to stay open after being broken. Pain cleanses the heart of indifference. It tears down the walls of selfishness and awakens the need to connect. You begin to see that everyone carries a burden and some carry it in silence. This realization changes the way you treat people. You become slower to anger, quicker to forgive, and gentler in your words. The experience of your own suffering makes you a refuge for others because you understand that sometimes just being there for someone is enough to ease their pain. Pain is not a punishment, it is a process of preparation. Life does not break you to destroy you, it breaks you to shape you. Every difficult experience molds your inner strength, forcing you to develop the resilience needed to carry the weight of your purpose. Those who avoid hardship remain fragile, unready to handle the intensity of real growth. Pain is the training ground of greatness, where weakness is burned away and endurance is forged through struggle and loss. Every setback serves as a silent instructor, teaching lessons that comfort never could. It disciplines your mind, sharpens your focus, and reveals what truly matters. The struggles you face build emotional stamina, the ability to stand steady when everything falls apart. Pain teaches you patience, the capacity to wait without losing purpose, and the strength to act even when the path is uncertain. Without this process, no one can stand tall when life demands strength. Pain prepares the spirit for balance, stability, and power. Pain also clears the path of false desires and illusions. It strips away the unnecessary, leaving only what is real and essential. When everything you depend on is taken from you, you begin to realize that your strength was never outside, it was always within. Pain forces you to see the truth of your existence, to stop chasing distractions, and to understand that the greatest wealth lies in inner clarity. It becomes the fire that burns away pretension and pride, leaving behind purity of intent and depth of vision. Through pain, You become capable of handling responsibility. Life will not hand strength to those who have not proven their capacity to endure. Pain trains you for leadership not by giving you power, but by teaching you humility. Only those who have been broken understand the weight of others' struggles. They lead with awareness, not arrogance, because pain has taught them the cost of every choice. The deeper the pain, the greater the preparation for responsibility that demands both wisdom and compassion. Pain molds your destiny with precision. It is the unseen force that equips you to hold the life you are meant to live. Without pain, success becomes shallow and power turns destructive. But when you have walked through fire, you carry a strength that cannot be shaken. Every wound becomes a mark of readiness, proof that you have been tested and tempered. Life's challenges are not there to block your path. They are the path shaping you for the moment when your strength is needed most. The greatest people are not those who have walked an easy road, but those who have turned their deepest pain into unshakable power. They are the ones who faced storms that could have destroyed them, yet chose to rise instead of collapse. Every scar they carry tells a story of endurance. Every failure becomes a stepping stone toward mastery. They learned that suffering can either chain you down or forge you into something indestructible. Pain became their weapon, and struggle became the ground where their greatness was built. Those who rise from pain develop a strength that comfort can never produce. They have seen despair and refuse to surrender to it. Their strength does not come from arrogance, but from surviving the darkness that once threatened to consume them. They do not fear loss because they have already lost and rebuilt themselves from the ashes. Their resilience is not a performance. It is carved into their being through every tear, every sleepless night, and every moment when giving up would have been easier. From their wounds, wisdom begins to grow. Pain forces reflection, and reflection gives birth to understanding. The lessons learned in struggle become the compass that guides them through life. They no longer seek to avoid difficulty because they know that true learning only comes from experience. Their pain becomes a teacher that never lies, showing them who they are and what they are capable of. Wisdom born from suffering carries a depth that cannot be imitated because it is earned through survival. Pain is a doorway, not a wall. It opens paths within you that comfort can never reach. When you stop fighting it and start learning from it, every wound becomes a teacher, every tear becomes a cleansing, and every fall becomes a rise. Growth is not about avoiding pain, it is about transforming it into the fuel that drives your evolution.